Welcome to Fake Love and Flying Monkeys, the podcast where fake love is exposed. I'm Nova Gibson and I am your host. I'm the principal counsellor at Brighter Outlook Narcissistic Abuse Counselling.com.au. This space is dedicated to helping you reclaim your worth and understand the impact of toxic relationships with suspected narcissists. You deserve clarity, healing, and freedom from the pain of fake love and flying monkeys. So please leave a review and grab a copy of my book, Fake Love, Understanding and Healing from Narcissistic Abuse. Let's uncover the truth and take back your power. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Fake Love and Flying Monkeys, where we cut through all the fluff and talk about toxic relationships, narcissistic abuse, and most importantly, how you can get your life back. In this episode, we're talking about a phrase that honestly, I wish I had $1 for every time I've heard it. I'd be sitting on a beach in the Maldives with a cocktail in my hand right now. But seriously, it's that moment when the narcissist in your life, maybe it's an ex, maybe the person that you were tangled up with in one of those messy, almost relationships. Maybe it's even a parent or a so-called friend. They look at you and they say, with all the fake sincerity in the world, let's be friends. And if you've ever been in that position, you know exactly how your heart does this weird flip-flop. Part of you thinks, well, that's nice. At least we won't be enemies. And another part of you, the deep down part that already knows better, that's your instincts, is going, oh no, here we go again. Now, I want to start by being really clear, guys. When a narcissist says, let's be friends, they are not offering you friendship in the way you mean friendship. They're not saying, let's respect each other, show up when it counts. Let's keep healthy boundaries and bring value into each other's lives. What they're actually saying is, I want to keep control of you. I want access to you. I want your attention when I feel like it. I want your emotions, your emotional energy when and if I need it, and your loyalty, of course, without having to give you anything in return. When they say, let's be friends, it's never about connection. It's about control. They want to keep you in their orbit, not close enough for commitment, but not far enough for you to be free and, of course, to go on with your life and heal. So let's talk about why. When you hear those words, you might actually consider saying yes. And this is where we need to talk about the trauma bond. If you've ever listened to any of my episodes, or certainly if you've ever been a client of mine, and guys, if you would like to have a one-on-one Zoom counseling session with me, I would love to be able to support you as a professional counselor in your narcissistic abuse recovery. Just see my website link in the description. But getting back to that very powerful trauma bond that makes no sense to anyone outside of the relationship, or more importantly, makes no sense to the victim themselves. If you've been in a relationship with a narcissist, you have probably experienced that intense chemical roller coaster of highs and lows that are just so polarized. The love bombing, the devaluing, the little moments where they give you just enough attention, or the breadcrumbs, we call it, to keep you hooked. That cycle literally changes your brain chemistry. It's like being addicted to a drug that is destroying you, but you still crave it. So when they suggest friendship, your trauma bonded brain hears, I'm not losing them completely. I can still get my fix. And guys, that's not weakness. That's biology. That's the dopamine hits from the good moments in inverted commas, because they're never really good when you look back on them. They're just days that appear good because the bad days are so bad. But in those moments, the cortisol from the bad ones and the dopamine from the good moments, these are all tangled together until your nervous system can't tell the difference between love and anxiety. Another reason you might say yes, even though your subconscious, your instincts are screaming at you that you can't be friends with this toxic jerk who hurts you more than any other person on the face of the earth. Another reason you might say yes is that there is this social script we've all been fed that staying friends with your ex means that you are this mature, evolved human being. Society claps for that. We hear people brag about it. But here's the thing, guys. Those examples are usually between people who broke up because they wanted different things, or they simply grew apart, not because one person systematically dismantled the other's self-worth. Calling yourself friends with someone who tried to destroy you, who emotionally abused you, isn't maturity. It's like drinking a little bit of poison as opposed to a lot of poison and thinking, well, that's better for me. And then there's that drug that we all imbibe from time to time when we've been a victim of a narcissist, which I call hopium. Yes, that hope. You might secretly be thinking, if I stay friends, maybe they'll remember how good we were together. Maybe they'll miss me and want me back. But what they'll actually miss, guys, is the way you dropped everything to meet their needs, the way you boosted their ego, the way you absorbed all of their bad moods without complaining. They won't be yearning for your boundaries, or certainly not your independence. And sometimes you might genuinely believe you can handle it. I've had clients tell me, no, that I'm over them. I just want to be civil. I can totally do friendship. And maybe that's true with a healthy person, but with a narcissist, this is not a safe experiment, guys. It's like saying, I know this lion mauled me last year, but you know what? I'm just going to hang out in its cage for a while. We've both grown and matured. So let's take a little look at what typically happens if you agree with the narcissist. You say yes to the friendship. At first, it might feel almost nice, civil. You meet for coffee, swap a few texts, maybe laugh about the old times. You start thinking to yourself, see, we're fine here. We can be normal about this. But slowly but surely, the cracks start to show. They call you whenever they need a shoulder to cry on. Never when you need a shoulder to cry on. It's only ever going to be about them. Or maybe they call you when their car breaks down or when they've had a fight with the new partner. But when you're in need, guys, they are so swamped. Sorry, just too busy. Just not in a good place right now. They slip in little comments about your life, critical, backhanded things that remind you of those old, horrible, emotionally abusive days. They will drop hints about their amazing new partner, perhaps, and they'll do it in a way that's just subtle enough to sting, or maybe they get flirty one time the minute you start seeing someone new, just to pull your focus back on to them. It's the same dynamic as before. They don't change. Only now you've been demoted. You don't get the same relationship perks, if you could call them that. You just get the emotional garbage. So let me give you a quick example that I hear regularly from my clients. I'm going to call this client Sarah. So Sarah ended a relationship with a narcissist who cheated on her. 2 weeks later, he called and he said, "Look, Sarah, I know we're not good together romantically, but I don't want to lose you completely. Let's be friends." Sarah agreed because she thought it was the grown-up thing to do. And for the next 3 months, she was his emotional dumping ground. He would call her when his new relationship was going badly, whenever he was stressed about work, when he needed advice, but never once asked how she was coping. And when she finally stopped answering his calls, he just blocked her, just like that. Friendship over. It's so important to understand that narcissists see relationships as transactional. You're not a person to them in the way a healthy person would see you. Everyone is objectified, and you are their supply. That supply might be emotional attention, admiration, validation, or even just the satisfaction they get from knowing they still have power over you. When they say, "Let's be friends," they're saying, "Let me test you to see if you're still emotionally available to me, because that makes me feel powerful." They're keeping you as a backup supply for when their own relationships inevitably go sour. They're leaving the door open to hoover you back, to suck you back into the toxic cycle when they need a fix. The reality is that you can't be friends with someone who abuses you, and someone who abuses you is not your friend. Friendship requires mutual respect at the very least, and you have never had that from this person, so it is not magically going to appear with any type of sincerity when they've discarded you or you've managed to escape from that horrific trauma zone. If you're thinking of remaining friends with your abuser, then dig really deep and really ask yourself about your motivation, keeping in mind that very powerful trauma bond. That trauma bond where they essentially trained your brain to crave their approval like it's oxygen. Remember the love bombing? That wasn't real affection. That was your hook. Then came the constant criticism and chaos, your withdrawal. Your nervous system got addicted to the highs, and you may look at friendship as the breadcrumbs that will keep that horrible withdrawal at bay. When you try to stay friends with the narcissist, you just end up right back in the emotional chaos that you work so hard to escape from. Here's the truth. You are not obligated to be friends with someone who has lied to you, hurt you, devalued you. Protecting your peace is not being petty, it's being healthy. So next time you hear that line, "Let's be friends," from the narcissist in your life, hear the subtext loud and clear. You owe them nothing. Friendship with a narcissist is not friendship at all. It's just a new chapter in the same old manipulation story. Surround yourself with real friends, people who don't need drama or power plays in their life. Focus on your healing and rediscovering who you are without the narcissist shadow looming over you. And remember, your worth is not tied to their approval or their presence. And finally, remember, friendship should feel like a gift, not a trap. Friendship should feel like freedom, not a leash. As Oscar Wilde wisely once said, some cause happiness wherever they go, others whenever they go. Choose the happiness that you deserve. And that brings us to the end of another Fake Love and Flying Monkeys episode. Yes, please stay out of that friend's danger zone, guys, because it will prolong your healing and just add to the confusion. Staying friends with a narcissist can actually slow down your healing because every interaction can pull you back into that toxic cycle. The hope, the attention, the little reminders of what you once had. And all of that keeps your brain in a state of emotional limbo. Now, if you are wanting support in your own narcissistic abuse recovery, please remember that I am a professional counsellor and I'd love to support you in a one-on-one Zoom counselling session. My website link is in the description, where you will also find a link to my best-selling book, Fake Love. On that note, guys, it's bye from me for now. Until tomorrow's episode, remember, you are worthy of love and you are worthy of so much more than a lifetime of fake love and flying monkeys.